we just got back from a birthday party at the pool. And as always, I had the conversation driving the kids to the pool. I said, they're having pizza. They're probably not going to have a gluten-free option. And I'm sure they will have cupcakes or cake. And you guys are probably not going to have gluten-free cake. And it's probably going to have a bunch of dyes in it. And we've had this conversation with the kids enough. We've been to enough birthday parties by this point. I mean, my son is almost 7. My daughter's almost 5. And then our baby is 1. But they know the rub at this point. They know, like, hey, we're not going to have the cupcakes. We're not going to have the pizza, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes birthday parties will have, like, fruit and stuff. So that's always nice. But we don't expect that. Like, we don't expect people to cater to us at their parties. And so on the way, I just said, like, hey, they're probably going to have these things. If they offer them to you and they're not gluten-free, you just say, oh, no, is it gluten-free? No, okay, no, thank you. And that's it. And so, got out of the pool, came around to sing happy birthday, and then passing out pizzas. And I'm so proud of them. It makes it like a little bit harder when they're so good about it because they just said, you guys want pizza? They just really, they didn't say anything because they were exhausted at that point from the party and the swimming. But I just said, like, no, thanks. They knew they weren't going to be eating it. They didn't even ask about the cake. And so the other side of the coin of that is we tell them we're not going to have the cake, we're not going to have the cupcakes, but we'll have something special when we get home, or we'll grab something special on the way home. And that's for a couple of reasons. The point is not we need to be scared of foods. I like to tell the kids, hey, we're not doing this because, like, you can never have sugar, you can never have dyes, you can never have gluten. Like, I don't want you to be afraid of these foods. We don't need to be afraid of foods. We just need to be aware of what we're putting into our bodies, how often we're putting those things into our bodies, and how we feel afterwards, because that's a big part of it. The other day at the end of the T-ball season, we took the kids out for frozen yogurt. I guess they did get sprinkles, so there were some dyes in there, which we've been really cracking down on lately, like really trying to avoid the dyes and all the canola oils and seed oils. Lately, that's been like, we've got gluten down, no problem there. Kids understand it, no problem. But the other things, like, we're getting more serious about, we're talking to them a lot more about. So anyway, they got, like, just whatever. They just wanted, like, vanilla and chocolate ice cream. They didn't want anything crazy. And then they just wanted some sprinkles. And they got, like, I mean, not a ton of ice cream, but more than we would scoop into their bowls at home if we were having any ice cream. And the next day, lo and behold, my son went, like, berserk over something. I don't remember. He just threw a humongous fit about something crazy. You don't talk to them right in the moment. You don't tell them, like, when they're freaking out, hey, this is maybe why. But when the storm had passed and he was fine again, I talked to him and I just helped him connect the dots. I said, remember yesterday we got a lot of ice cream that we don't normally get, and then we got those sprinkles on them with the dyes in them. And I said, maybe, and I don't know because we don't know, but I said, that may be part of why you reacted so big to something that maybe wasn't as big of a deal today. We just try to have these conversations around food with our kids because we don't want them to be afraid of these things. I don't want them to fly the coop and just be afraid to eat gluten or, like, oh my gosh, I got, because they don't have, like, an anaphylactic reaction to these things. They don't have an allergy. My son has a gluten sensitivity and my husband does too. And so we've just, as a family, just avoided gluten. I think a lot of the issue is the stuff that comes along with the gluten. It's not always necessarily the gluten that's the issue, but if you're eating something with gluten in it, I mean, a lot of the times, like cakes, cookies, pastas, candy, you're getting all the sugars, a lot of the dyes, you're getting the oils along with it. And it's easier if the whole family does it, instead of, like, these 2 people in our family can't have gluten, the rest of us just go hog wild. And in general, I think gluten is not doing anybody any favors. From my time in practice, I'm a functional medicine practitioner. I'm just on pause right now while I'm raising the babies at home. But so from my time in a functional medicine practice, no one's body ever physically misses gluten. People miss gluten all the time when we take them off of it. But 9 times out of 10, people would say they feel better when they stop eating gluten. And I do believe some of it is the gluten. The other part, I do think maybe gluten doesn't necessarily bother them, but it's all the other stuff that comes with the product that they're eating with gluten in it. Anyway, so we had the conversation with the kids on the way there. The other thing we do, and we talk to them about, is we say what other families eat is none of our business. They can do what's right for their family. We're going to do what's right for our family. And so I think that helps a lot, A, with the questions of why do they get to have it? Like, why do they get to have the bright blue cupcakes and I don't? And we don't want to come from a place of judgment because what other people put in their bodies is truly none of our business. Like, it makes no difference to us. So why should we worry about it? So we have the conversation of this is what we're going to do for us because this is how like we feel better when we eat this way and we avoid these foods. And we're going to say other people do things that's right for their family and that's fine. And we're going to let them do that. So that also helps with trying to avoid them like telling people, you shouldn't have that. That has gluten. That's bad for you. Oh, you shouldn't eat those diets. Like, of course, there's an appropriate time to have those conversations. Usually it's not a 4-year-old talking to another 4-year-old at her birthday parties. Some of the things that we're doing are, of course, for our bodies. Like, we want to make the best choices for our bodies, but we're also trying to always have the conversation so the kids know why and how to handle these things. So we go to the birthday party. We say, no, thank you. We don't make a big show of, no, we're not having these things. And then we get something special afterwards. And I think that's fine because, yes, we should have treats every once in a while. And yes, it sucks that my kids don't get to have all the fun treats that their friends are having. And it tears me up a little bit on the inside. And I don't know. At this point, they don't really say anything about it. So I don't know if they just are bothered by it, but they don't say anything, or if they're just like, they know that's the deal. And so that's just the deal. But like I said, I'm so proud of them because they don't make a big deal out of it. They have great attitudes. And so we do, I hate to say reward them. We try not to reward with food because, that can turn into an issue when you're an adult. So it's not that we're rewarding them for having a good attitude at the party. We're just saying, hey, you missed out on those treats and it's fine to have treats every once in a while. So let's grab something. And yeah, we will sometimes we'll grab a package of gluten-free Oreos from the store. Does it have a bunch of crappy oils in it? Yes. Does it have a ton of sugar in it? Yes. But 1, we're at least not having the dyes. 2, we are eating way less than we would probably eat at the birthday party. And we're also trying to teach them that in the moment, like the birthday party and the fun is not about the food. The birthday party and the fun is about seeing your friends, going to the pool, someone thinking of you, caring about you to invite you to their birthday party. Like, that is the special thing. The special thing is not the food. And so we're teaching them as you get older, like, you can go to an event. And if the food is not a food that you want to put in your body, that's fine. The event is not a wash because you can't enjoy the foods there. So sometimes we'll do gluten-free Oreos or like a gluten-free cookie from the store. Sometimes if I really am on top of my game, we'll make cookies before the event. So when we come home, we can have the cookies. And then we really have put good ingredients in there. But I was definitely not on top of it today. Or we'll do popsicles. Today they requested these lollipops, which I don't know why I have a box of 60 lollipops in our pantry. But these haven't come in handy when we need something like a little extra special. And they're like, there's no dyes. There's 8 grams of sugar. I mean, they're just sugar. It's just not even juice. It's just sugar. Just cane sugar, brown rice syrup. But they're like no dyes, whatever, no corn syrup. So it's nice, like, as a little extra special thing. So they had a great time at the party. They get a little special treat when we come back home. And they had a great day. And to be fair, we've done this from literally day 1. So we never had to pull back from, okay, now as a family, we're not eating gluten anymore. We're not eating, a bunch of sugars. We started out this way, which of course is going to make it so much easier. So I can definitely sympathize, whichever appropriate one, with a family that wants to make a change from what they're doing now. That's hard. I get that. I think the biggest thing is start, 1, just involve the kids, in the conversations, in the decisions. Okay, we're not going to have these. What would you guys like instead? Start reading ingredient lists. That's what we did with our kids. We're kind of working on a nice balance. We don't want them to be afraid of sugar. My daughter went through a month or 2 where she's like, is it healthy? I don't want it. And we're like, well, yeah, okay, that's fine. But we don't have to be scared of things if they're not super ultra healthy for our bodies. We can have these things and it's fine. It's just not serving us and we don't want to do it all the time. So it's a balancing act for sure, on reading the ingredients. So the kids will be walking through the store and they say, does it have sugar? And we're like, well, yeah, I don't even have to look at the ingredient list. But we'll grab it and we'll say, okay, this is a word for sugar. Rice syrup, that's a word for sugar. Agave nectar, that's a word for sugar. And there's different kinds of sugars. There's some sugars that are less hard on our bodies. And so it doesn't happen overnight. If you haven't done it from day one and it's something you want to do for your family, if there's a change you want to make for your family, it's going to take work. One of the biggest pieces of advice is tell them why. And don't sugarcoat it, but like use real words and use the real reason. You don't need to say, "Oh, it makes, it hurts our tum-tum," and like whatever. Like if they get a tummy ache from it, that's why. If it makes them act crazy, tell them. Do you remember earlier you felt fine, your mood was fine, and then we ate this ice cream and now like you were so upset about this thing that you normally wouldn't be this upset about. Tying those things back in, telling them. We don't say, "Well, we don't eat." I don't know. You tell them the real reason. You have real conversations with the kids. It goes so far. And then your kids are so educated and they know why and they can explain why and they can tell their friends, "Oh, this is why I don't have gluten." At least we're still working on it. So it can be done. Surviving birthday parties and social events with kids and, just giving them a heads up, I think, is a huge part of it. You don't want to get to the party and slap them in the face with, "Oh, by the way, you don't get any of this." No, you set them up for success. You have the conversation early on. I still sometimes will tell them the day before, like, "Tomorrow we're going to a party. They said they were having this and this. We're probably not going to have those things, but we will blah, 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 blah," whatever your plan is, your plan of attack. "But we will make cookies tomorrow morning so when we get home, we can have those instead." Or, "But we will stop at the grocery store on the way home and you can pick your treat." Or not, no treat. I mean, you can do it however it worked for you. We're not going to have the treats, but the special thing is we get to see our friends at the pool. How fun is that going to be? And let's go pick out their birthday present. You guys can come help me pick out the birthday present. Life is so much more than food. And I think that's a big thing is we want to teach our kids. Like the special thing is not the food. And we can have treats and we can enjoy treats. We don't need to be scared of them, but we need to make sure that we're not wrecking our bodies to enjoy the treats that we're going to have. So man, good luck because it's a long haul and it's a lifetime. It's just part of parenting, obviously. It's just part of raising kids and you find what you value and what you value as a family and then you really teach them and you have the conversations about it. And kids are smart. They'll understand. It may not be easy. They may not like it, but they'll start to understand for sure. I can't believe I forgot to mention this, but you can also BYO, right? You can bring your own special treats. It's totally an option. It might feel weird, especially in the beginning. We don't do it a lot of the time now that it's easier to just say, "Hey, we'll just do something when we get home." But sometimes we will just bring our own cookies or whatever. Our kids have never had an issue with it. Again, they're used to not having the same thing as other families, but they still get a treat. That's totally an option. And for the most part, I think we've never ran into it. At least no one has ever said anything to us. I don't know, maybe someone has been, I'm sure at this point, someone has been offended. But I cannot imagine many families are going to be offended that you're bringing a treat if you have special dietary requirements or restrictions for your kids. So that is totally an option. Just bring your own.